Hey everybody, Brian Evans here with realestateinvestorcoach.com. Thanks so much for joining me for another great video presentation. If you're not a real estate investor coach insider, the first thing I want you to do immediately after you're done watching this video is go to realestateinvestorcoach.com, enter your first name and email address, and you'll be an insider officially. You also get a free CD and report. And as an insider, you will have access to weekly content, news, business tips, and how-to investing real estate tips on an ongoing basis. So go there, sign up. It's free. It'll be well worth your time and effort. So with that said, let's jump right into this week's video lesson. Today's lesson is about capturing seller information. Very important topic. The first thing you need to know before I get into kind of the nuts and bolts about capturing information is you need to have a system in place. You need to have a system in place which generates new leads for you that you can market to. A system in place that allows you to market to these new leads on a regular basis without requiring much effort from you. You need to have a system in place which captures seller information, and you need to have a system in place which pre-screens the sellers. The most important part, and I'm a huge advocate of having systems in place for your business. The most important part of having systems is setting up systems on the front end of your business, so that way you can capture information, you can generate leads, you can market to these leads, you can pre-screen new leads when they come in, so that way you can then determine ways to structure deals to make money on the deals that you're buying. So the first thing is get your system in place that generates new leads, that markets to these new leads, that captures seller information and allows you to pre-screen these sellers when they call in, okay? There are 4 parts to capturing information. The first part is you need to get their contact information, you need to get the situation, you need to get property information, and you need to get the price and terms, okay? The first part here, contact information. With this section, what you need to know is, first and foremost, you need to get their primary contact information, such as the name, phone numbers, email address, and best time to call them. The more phone numbers you can get, the better. If there's more than one person who owns the home and who's on the mortgage, you need to know that as well, husband and wife, for example. If you can get both of their numbers, then get it. Get every bit of contact information you can from these people when they call in. If you can get their email address, all the better. And it's good to know the best time to call these folks back. Try to find out from them what's convenient when they call in. And again, I'm going to go through this outline here, and at the end I'm going to show you some ways to systemize this outline so it doesn't require a whole lot of work from you, okay? The next part is the situation. You need to know the situation. For example, a question that you'd want to ask in your script is, do you need to sell the house fast, yes or no? What is the situation and why are you selling the property? And then how soon do you need to move? This is very important because it kind of gets you into the mindset of the seller. For example, what's the situation? Is it a job loss, foreclosure, behind in payments, divorce? Is it inheritance of a property? Different things like that. The more that you know about the situation and why the person is selling will allow you to structure your offer to them, okay? So it's very important that you can get the situation from them, why they're selling. And then how quickly do they need to move? This tells you how motivated they are. Do they need to move in 2 weeks? Do they think they need to move in a month? Do they need to move in 6 months? That tells you their level of motivation and how high of a priority this person is on your list of deals to pursue, okay? Property information. You obviously have to have the property information of the property you're going to be dealing with, the property you're going to be potentially buying. So you need to get the address, the city, the state, the zip, bedrooms, bathrooms, square footage, garage, basement, all the stuff in regards to the property, all the specs on the home. How long has the seller owned the house? I like to know this. Have they owned it for 6 months, a year, 2 years, 10 years? It just kind of gives you a bit of understanding about the situation with the property. What is the current condition of the home? Is it in good, fair, poor, terrible condition? Those are good questions to ask. Does the property need any repairs? And if so, what are they? And if there are repairs needed, how much does the seller think they're going to cost to get these repairs completed in the property? How long has the house been for sale, and is it listed with a realtor? If the house has been for sale for, say, a week, and they're not needing to move for 6 months, then maybe they're not motivated to sell. If it's been listed for sale for 6 months or a year or more, then you know that they had been trying to sell this property for a long period of time, not having any luck. Therefore, you might be one of their only hopes left to get this property sold, so that way they can get this debt removed from their credit and they can move on with their lives. Is it listed with the realtor? That's very important to know because you don't want to be stepping on anyone's toes. If the property is listed with the realtor, then I highly advise you to just step back, or if the seller is willing to, and if the realtor is also willing to, request that the realtor release the sellers from the listing. This is a case-by-case basis. Some realtors will do it, some won't. But if the realtor is not having any success selling the property, and if it's a foreclosure situation and things like that, then a lot of times you'll be able to get these houses released from a listing with the realtor without too much trouble. So take that on a case-by-case basis, but it's something that you definitely need to know before you get too involved with the property and with the seller. Price and terms. You need to know the price and terms of the property. For example, what are they asking for the property? What's the asking price? How did you determine the asking price? For example, did they determine it from the realtor, from the tax assessed value, from a previous appraisal from 2-3 years ago, from other houses that have sold on the street? You kind of want to know how they came up with their asking price. It just helps you gauge a little bit, again, get into the mind of the seller. What does the seller think it would appraise for? Again, very important. If they're asking 100 and they think it would appraise for 150, then you know you got some potential equity there. You know you got probably a motivated seller. So it's very important to determine and compare the asking price versus what they think the house would appraise for. Very important questions to know. Are there any mortgages on the home, and if so, how many are there? 1, 2, 3, etc. What's the mortgage balance? What's the monthly payment on the mortgages? What's the interest rate if they know it? And are the payments current or are behind? And if they are behind, how far behind are they? A lot of people, a lot of investors, when they get in this business, they have difficulty asking these questions in regards to the mortgage information. Well, let me tell you this. Knowing the mortgage information on the property is the most important part of this business. If you don't know what the debt is on the home and the situation with the debt, then how do you know how you're going to be able to structure a deal to buy it? It's very important that you get this information. If you're afraid to ask this information, then you need to get over this fear as soon as possible. You got to get the mortgage information so that way you know what you can buy the property for or take over the debt or things like that. If the seller is not willing to tell you the mortgage information on the home, then you are dealing with a seller that is not motivated. People who do not tell you this information are not motivated. Move on to the next deal. Trust me on this one, okay? Price and terms continued. Ask the seller, are you willing to sell the house for what you owe on it? Will you sell the house by allowing me to take over your monthly mortgage payment? If I can close on your house and pay cash quickly, what's the least you would take? And how did you hear about us? These are just some of the things some questions that you can put in a script to get answered so that way you can, again, pre-screen these sellers as quickly as possible. Above all else, okay, when you're going through and capturing information from these sellers, you need to know the name, the address, and phone number. You need to know the appraised value that they think it would appraise for. You need to determine the ARV, the after repaired value, and you're going to do that partially by getting this question asked on the script. You need to know the asking price. You need to know the repairs needed, and you need to know the loan information. Everything else can wait, but you need to know the name, the appraised value, the asking price, repairs needed, loan information. You've got to get this information above all else. As I mentioned before, there's a system in place that you need to put in place as soon as possible when capturing this information. And that system that I would recommend to you is to use a live operator service. Do not take these calls yourself. If you do, then you're wasting your time, and I guarantee that it will make you hate this business very, very quickly. Okay? Nobody likes getting phone calls from unmotivated sellers on their cell phone during dinner time. You do not want sellers calling your cell phone or any other line for that number. I'm telling you, you need to systemize this business. This is the most important part of your business, is systemizing the front end so that way your leads come to you automatically. All you got to do is mail letters and postcards and things like that and put up signs. So drive all this traffic and let the live operator fill out the script and pre-screen these sellers for you. To use a live operator, the same one that I use is Pat Live. Go to patlive.com/signup/Brian Evans. The information is all there that you need to get started. Last and not least, just set it and forget it. Get this system set up, capture the information. These leads will be emailed to you automatically and virtually pre-screened based on your script through Pat Live, and then it's up to you to turn those leads into cash. So with all that said, I hope you enjoyed this video lesson today. I tried to get into as much detail as possible without getting too lengthy. Again, a lot of this stuff might be repetitive to some of you. You may already know it. But do me a favor, if you like this video, make sure you post your comments below on this blog. And again, if you're not a Real Estate Investor Coach Insider, go to realestateinvestorcoach.com and sign up there. So again, hope you enjoyed this video. I can't wait to create another one for you next week. This is Brian Evans signing out. Take care.